Glenda from my plant-powered kitchen. So today I'm going to cook a chickpea meal. It's a recipe that I have used before and it's delicious. I've modified it a little bit, but Leanne Campbell is Colin T. Campbell's daughter and he wrote the China Study. If you haven't read it, I really suggest you do. So I'm going to make this chickpea masala dish. Leanne has said that you can use any beans you like, which is something that I often do, is if you haven't got what the recipe calls for, just improvise. So she said that they use this a lot when they're traveling, and instead of adding all the spices, because to be honest, I look at a recipe and I go, too messy, too fiddly, too many. And with this one, there's not a lot of spices, but there are a few, but you can just use 3 teaspoons of curry powder. I've modified the recipe a little as well. It calls for 4 cups of chickpeas. That's okay for me. I'm used to eating a lot of beans and lentils, but for anybody that isn't, and I want to share this meal with people who aren't plant-based, it can be a little upsetting for the tummy to have a lot of beans all at once if you're not used to it. So I halve the chickpeas and I add whatever vegetable I feel like. Today I'm using pumpkin and carrot as a substitute. Now it says 2 cups, this is more than 2 cups, can't get too many veggies. I'm also going to add greens, which it doesn't have in the recipe, but again, you can't have too many greens. So I've preheated my pan and I'm going to add 1 cup of chopped onion. I haven't got anything in the pan at the moment, definitely no oil, but you can use stock, which I have ready, and I'll add a little bit in a minute, but I like to just toss it around in the heat first and just let it sweat. Still haven't added anything, but the onions have sweated quite nicely, and I'm going to add 4 cloves of garlic and 1 teaspoon of ginger, grated ginger. I don't grate ginger or garlic. I don't mind if I just chop it fairly finely, but I'm not too fussy. I love ginger and I love garlic. So if I get a piece of ginger and garlic, that's okay. So we just saute that for a couple of minutes. Still haven't needed to add any liquid, but I have it ready. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of stock. So of course I've got 2 tablespoons of water with a little bit of my chicket seasoning. And if you don't know what chicket seasoning is, I have done a video on that showing you how to make it. Now I'm going to add the spices. And the spices in the recipe are a teaspoon of ground cumin, ground coriander and turmeric, all 1 teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of garam masala, and that's it. So we'll throw all of that in. That's soaking up any moisture that was left, and from now I will add the stock. You can add that gradually as you go, but it wasn't sticking, so I didn't feel the need. There we are. That's ready to have the rest of the ingredients added. So the next thing that we'll add is the diced tomatoes. There are 2 cans of diced tomatoes. Stir that through. Then we need 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Again, just eyeball it. We're going to add the chickpeas. So I've got 2 tins of chickpeas here that I've rinsed and drained. And the recipe calls for coconut cream. I seldom use coconut cream because it's too concentrated, and I've talked about calorie density before and it's too full of oil. So I like the flavour of the coconut and the creaminess of the actual milk. I find it's better to use the powdered coconut milk. That's what I use, and the recipe says this whole packet, which is 50 grams, makes 250 mils of coconut milk. So I halve that and I put in the same amount of water and only 25 grams. You still get that coconutty flavour, you cut down on the calories and you cut down on the fats. So I have measured that out here and I'll put that in. Oh, it smells beautiful. It looks pretty good too. Now I'm going to add the vegetables. So we're going to cook that now until the vegetables are tender. So I'll pop the lid on and let that simmer. Right, I'm back now and the vegetables are cooked. The pumpkin is soft. This smells so good. Now I'm going to add some greens. These greens are all out of my garden. There's Brazilian spinach, there's water spinach, there's this curly lettuce that's quite bitter, there's dandelion greens, anything that that I can grow, even weeds. There's even some cobbler's pegs, the fresh young leaves of cobbler's pegs. Did you know you can eat them? They're not just weeds, they're edible weeds. So this seems like quite a lot, but it'll shrink down to nothing. So I'm going to add that on the top now. This has been simmering for about 15 minutes, but it all depends how big the vegetable pieces are and what type of vegetable. So you just gauge that yourself as you would normally when you normally cook dinner. So I'll pop the lid on and let that steam for maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Then I'll stir it through. And then it'll be ready to be served with rice. And on the side, of course, I'll have more greens. I'll have some possibly zucchini and maybe a bit of broccoli. But I'm not plating that up right now because it's early morning and I'm not ready for dinner. But my chicket, I want to tell you about my chicket seasoning, a little bit more about it. Last night I was going out and I had a late lunch, but I just needed something to eat. So I cut up a few potatoes, just small potatoes in quarters. And where the cut edges are then quite wet. So I poured some of this on a plate and just dipped each quarter into the chicket seasoning and popped them in the air fryer with the skin side down. It was delicious. And I didn't even need any sauce with that because the potato in the middle was so creamy and crunchy on the outside. Delicious. Now I've made 2 different types of chicket seasoning. This one has been ground to a powder. The other one I don't grind up, and it has the nutritional yeast texture, so it's not quite as fine. Both work, both do the same job. I've used both on potatoes, and just another way of spicing up the veggies, and you can use it on any veggie. Actually, it'd be really nice on zucchini because zucchini is quite bland and a little bit tasteless. I've got to add some lemon juice. It says half a teaspoon, I think. Who on earth would put who would use half a teaspoon? I love lemon, so I'll be giving that a good squeeze of lemon before I serve it. And you can always add some coriander. So I'll just give this a stir. You can see, not very well, that the greens have gone down to nothing. That just reminds me of when my niece was in hospital having her first child. She was really hungry. So back in those days, I was making buckwheat porridge, and I always put a really big handful of greens in my porridge. Dr. Esselson says you can't get enough greens, and it's good for the endothelial cells. So I made up these little thermoses and took them up each day. I would take one up to her with chopped banana and blueberries and raspberries, whatever fruit I had in the fridge or in the freezer. And she'd have this flask of beautiful creamy porridge with all the greens in it, so full of nutrition and so satisfying. It was just what she needed when she was starting to breastfeed. So can't have too much greens. There we go. You can hardly see the greens in it now. Before I go, I want to show you this. While I was waiting for this to all cook, I wanted to have something to eat. And I was inspired by a recipe from the Broccoli Mum last night when I was scrolling through YouTube, and she made these amazing little oat and banana cupcakes. I made mini ones, she made bigger ones than this. And the filling is an alternative to Nutella. So it's chickpeas, cacao, and dates and water. I will do a video on that, but I have to tell you, these are fabulous for breakfast. They're very decadent tasting, but healthy and guilt-free. Here we have the finished meal. I've cooked brown rice in the meantime, and we've got the brown rice with the chickpea masala and some broccoli and zucchini. So that is the complete meal. One of the other things that was in the recipe was cayenne pepper, and I'll leave that in the recipe. The reason I don't put it in is I know that my friends that will be joining me for this don't like anything spicy. So what I do is I have a chili out of my garden, and I just munch on that as I have my meal, and that way you get as much chili as you want. Sometimes they're super hot and you don't need very much, every couple of mouthfuls, and other times they're just delightful, but I love a bit of chili. So there we go. Thank you for watching the video, and as usual, if you like it, please subscribe to my channel, and the full recipe will be under the video. Bye for now.